On March 31st, Berkshire Hathaway, a company owned by Warren Buffett, a renowned American investor, sold 2.48 million BYD H shares, reducing its stake to 10.9% compared to a previous 11.13%. Berkshire Hathaway, which has held BYD shares for 14 years, has made 10 consecutive moves to reduce its stake in BYD H shares since August 24, 2022, bringing its stake from 19.92% to the present 10.9%. Since February, BYD shares have fallen by a cumulative 7%. According to the Horizon Financial chief economist, Warren Buffett may take a while to sell out BYD, and it may only be a matter of time before he liquidates his position in the company. He believed there were multiple reasons behind Buffett's decision to reduce his holdings, including risk-averse considerations. Warren Buffett has always pursued the credo of being fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. The reduction in BYD's holdings must be due to some uncertainty about its prospect for future growth. So what would it be? As a so-called national brand of China, BYD has been trying to compete with the American brand Tesla in the Chinese market. Tesla is currently the world leader in smart electric vehicle technology. In addition to technology, price is another key factor. Some reports suggest that the market share challenge for Tesla comes mainly from low-cost EVs. BYD's core price point for pure EVs and hybrids in China was roughly $14,000 to $17,000 US. In his interview with the American media in early 2021, Musk mentioned that Tesla's competition would come from China. In 2022, BYD's EVs outsold Tesla's in global sales, and their lower price point was more attractive than Tesla's high-end line, not only in recession-stricken China, but also in Europe. I think it could benefit us a lot because we import quite a lot of things, quite a lot of technological products of Huawei and BYD cars. Currently, many people have BYD cars. It is difficult to find spare parts. They are very good and cheap cars. BYD had two advantages that Tesla doesn't have. First, BYD was backed by subsidies from the Chinese government. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, supported the development of the electric vehicle industry with almost all of its power. This is especially true for BYD's high-end lineup, as it claims that the four-motor independent drive technology it uses has been under research and development for 20 years, which is difficult to do without significant financial and technical support. Why is the CCP so keen on developing the electric vehicle industry? We have previously done an episode to analyze it in detail. If you are interested, please click the link below. In addition, China's local governments have been issuing spending vouchers, with new energy vehicles being one of the targeted spending priorities. On October 26, 2022, China's Ministry of Finance and 3 other ministries announced that they would extend the vehicle purchase tax exemption for new energy vehicles until the end of 2023, allowing the majority of buyers to save tens of thousands of yuan. From these actions, we can see that Chinese officials are actively helping the EV industry. Meanwhile, the CCP has issued a ban on the use of Tesla vehicles by the military and government. These government interventions have provided more market opportunities for local brands. At the same time, Chinese official media is organized to suppress Tesla, while strictly prohibiting negative news about domestic new energy vehicles such as BYD. But even with so much support from the government, BYD suffers from an inherent deficiency. Profitability is the ultimate test of whether a company will survive or perish. Compared to Tesla, BYD's profit margins are much smaller, and there is little room to reduce costs. BYD started out as a battery manufacturer. The Blade battery was once its core technology, but the core technology is unlikely to increase revenue significantly. Blade battery is a lithium iron phosphate battery cell made into a blade-like slender shape, and the length can be customized according to the size of the battery pack. BYD's own sales have absorbed most of its battery capacity. If it wants to supply a large number of Blade batteries to other manufacturers, it has to purchase batteries from other manufacturers. After such a loss, BYD won't be able to carry the burden brought by the spike. In addition, according to Tianyan Cha, a financial information provider in China, The number of companies invested by BYD has reached 75, of which 16 are wholly owned subsidiaries. That is to say, BYD has taken over the work that many suppliers should do, and the invested capital has become its heavy asset. It's not easy to make this part of the investment lay more eggs or produce more profit. In the future, it's only possible to provide OEM business with low profits to more car companies. And because of the CCP's strong support for the EV industry, the market in China is now very crowded. After 2022, hybrid vehicles exploded. To date, all 4 of the top Chinese brands, which account for more than 5 million units sold, have joined forces in the hybrid EV market. Countless other small companies have entered as well. Some of them are making cars with one hand and buying them with the other in order to collect government subsidies. As a result, many abandoned EVs are found in the wilderness. For these companies, by simply shifting EVs from one hand to the other, they manage to cheat the subsidies and make enough profit.
大家看到的，这里是一片空地，旁边呢就是一个建筑工地。
This is a vacant lot next to a construction site. Where do these vehicles come from? They are said to be made by an electric vehicle company. Some of the vehicles were licensed and some weren't. You see, this vehicle hasn't been unpacked. It has been parked here for over a year. It's about time to start construction. But the company simply refuses to move their vehicles. I have sent a lawyer's letter on behalf of the developer twice, requesting the removal of the vehicles and the return of the occupied land. But there is no reply. The deadline given by the developer is the 15th of this month.
到期之后，如果还是不理睬的话呢，我会建议用地单位采取措施。
Well, as a renowned enterprise of national pride, has BYD joined this bandwagon to some extent? Probably.
600多台啊。
More than 600 vehicles made in the year 2021, all new energy vehicles with a license plate and a driving range of fewer than 50 kilometers, or ones with 405 kilometers. Such a good BYD electric vehicle just left here to be with grass and rats. It's heartbreaking to see. BYD's good fortune appears to be over as it entered 2023. This is because the Chinese government canceled the subsidies for new energy vehicles at the end of 2022. The media has revealed that after losing subsidies and policy incentives, no domestic new energy vehicle companies, including BYD, have been able to make any real profit except for Tesla. New energy vehicles in China originally relied on government subsidies and market capital to burn money to keep going. But now the CCP is really out of money, and the gradual withdrawal of official subsidies is inevitable. Then it's no surprise to see the situation. According to Chinese media reports, after the start of 2023, the number of BYD customers entering the store declined. In January this year, the sales volume of BYD's new energy vehicles was 151,300, a month-on-month decrease of 35.67%, that is, compared to December 2022. Based on the January data, it's estimated that BYD's total annual sales in 52 weeks would be about 1.51 million vehicles, which is far from its projected annual sales target of 4 million vehicles. Tesla started a pushback in October last year, driving a price war on Chinese automobiles with dramatic price cuts, and by March this year, many Chinese automakers have been forced to cut prices by half to stay afloat. Tesla's factory in Shanghai is profitable, while BYD isn't. It is clear that Tesla is trying to trap BYD within China. Musk concluded that the fourth quarter of 2022 was Tesla's 14th consecutive profitable quarter, achieving its highest single-quarter earnings, highest operating income, and highest net profit ever. This, in turn, was made possible by Tesla's significant price cuts that began in October 2022. In 2023, Tesla announced another price cut. Afterward, it has seen an explosive increase in orders. Traffic and orders at Tesla stores in several second- and third-tier cities in China increased sharply after Tesla's price cut, with some cities having an increase of 500% year-on-year compared to December 2022. In January, Tesla's sales in China were estimated at 66,000 units, achieving both year-over-year and month-over-month growth. After two price cuts, Tesla Model 3 is now priced at $33,000 to $48,000 US, directly competing with BYD Han model and Tesla Model Y is priced at $38,000 to $53,000 US, going head-to-head with BYD Tong model. It can be seen that Tesla is trying to trap BYD in the Chinese market and also take its market share. BYD was forced to reduce its prices. On March 9th, BYD's official WeChat page released a marketing campaign for its two main models for the period of March 10th to the 31st. The prices of both models were reduced by about $1,017 US and $1,317 US respectively.
变天了，你看我身后。
Guys, the sky is changing. Look how many vehicles are behind me. All of them are BYD makes. The one behind me is a BYD Dolphin 2021. There are so many, and this is just one 4S store, and there are so many unsold BYD. How many would the factory have in stock then? And what about other 4S stores? Before, when we purchased a vehicle, the order needed to be placed 4 months in advance. The wait time to get the vehicle was relatively long, and there was no discount, and there were also changes for this and that. But now, these vehicles are being reduced in price. No one is buying them though. The 2023 model is also here, and some stores are offering small discounts on them. These are the 2021 models. If I go to talk to the manager, what's listed as $2,600 US online, I think I could reduce it to $1,500 US. There are so few customers. Now take a look at the BYD Song Plus over here. There are many of them in stock as well. There is an online discount, about $900 US, but it doesn't impress us anymore. Look at the rows and rows of cars in stock. How much pressure will it bring? If a vehicle isn't sold in a month, how much more interest the dealership will have to pay? So the 4S stores are starting to clear their inventories. Now it is the lack of customers, not the lack of vehicles. Because of the shrinking sales, BYD has started laying off employees, or reducing salaries and eliminating overtime, which is de facto layoffs.
你敢相信吗？
Can you believe it? BYD in Hunan province has actually stopped hiring. What's going on here? Across the street is BYD's recruitment center. When we passed by it before, we saw a huge crowd of people. Many people brought their suitcases when they came for interviews. Usually, there would be a long line of applicants for the interview. Now, the interview windows over there are closed. Many people don't know it yet. I saw a few people who came for interviews were told to go home.
实施这个8小时工作制。
Today I was looking at the salary situation in BYD Xi'an from last month. One person was paid $1,200 US, with overtime being the largest portion. The base salary was only $277 US. If the 8-hour workday is implemented, it means that without overtime, you make $277 a month.
如果没有在加班的情况下，你每个月你才能赚1900。
New energy vehicles have been on fire over the past 2 years. But the whole auto industry, especially the new energy industry, is very competitive. All sorts of auto companies have joined the market. Although the BYD vehicle sales are relatively strong, when we entered this year, this hot market has begun to slowly cool down. Factory orders are slowly dropping. If you really implement an 8-hour working system without overtime, you only make 1,900 yuan a month. Think about it. How many people do you think can live on that? Nowadays, people have more debts. They have to pay mortgages, credit cards, and various online loans. How many people do you think can hold up?
各种网贷了，你觉得有几个人？
There are also several videos showing that BYD is laying off employees in many parts of China, with salaries generally shrinking by 50% and no severance pay. But these aren't the most deadly. The era of true smart vehicles is here. The net profit margin of traditional auto companies is only about 3 to 5%, but the net profit margin of software service companies can reach 20%. Smart seats, smart driving assistants, and other smart features may be functions that could bring significant commercial value in the next few years. Yet this is an area BYD has never been good at. A research report by Founder Securities pointed out what was missing in BYD. It was the lack of intelligence. The smart technology in the Chinese auto industry isn't localized. BYD hasn't done related research and development like Tesla. Rather, it has been buying NVIDIA's smart solutions and cooperating with Huawei and its smart driving technology. Therefore, the challenge BYD faces is that it needs chips for all aspects of new energy vehicles, including electronic control systems, laser radar, and autonomous driving. Although most of the chips used in EVs aren't covered by the US technology ban, the possibility can't be ruled out that the US ban will continue to expand. On August 31, 2022, the US issued a ban on exports to China of AI chips, such as the NVIDIA A100 and H100. Although these chips aren't directly used in EVs, they are critical to the training of AI algorithms, including autonomous driving. In other words, BYD doesn't have its own core technology, and once there is any change in the international environment, its new EVs will be knocked back to their primitive form. Therefore, how to solve the problem of homegrown high-end chips will become a matter of survival for Chinese automakers and its race against time. On August 16, 2022, US President Biden signed another Inflation Reduction Act. It not only provides subsidies of up to $7,500 per vehicle, but also removes the subsidy sales limit for automakers. It requires that subsidized electric vehicles be made in North America, and that the materials and key minerals in its batteries be sourced from the US or a country with which the US has a free trade agreement. Production and assembly must be done in North America as well. After 2023, EVs with batteries from other countries won't be able to receive subsidies. This act is seen as a move by the US government to exclude China and reorganize the global supply chain by making the US the center. It can also be seen as yet another US attempt to contain the CCP after the Chips and Science Act concerning the high technology and the industries with future potential for growth. Finally, the battery which BYD is most proud of doesn't seem to be so reliable, according to some online accounts. I am Wu Jianming, the founder of the iGo timesharing platform of Shenzhen Love Travel Car Rental Company. We are mainly engaged in timeshare rental with BYD Tongshi as the main vehicle model. Around 2016, we purchased more than 1,700 BYD electric vehicles, paying a total of $58 million US. Of these, 1,333 BYD Tongshi 300 EVs are used for rental operations. We received complaints about the poor driving range of the EVs once the rental platform went online. After about a year, returns started to happen. Returned vehicles were all BYD Tongshi. Basically, it was all about battery failures, and the battery life was problematic. The 1,033 units that we put on the market had a much lower driving range than the 300 kilometers officially claimed by Tongshi. The average range was only about 150 kilometers in reality, causing customers to return the vehicles after renting them. As a result, we couldn't continue our operation. We contacted BYD Tongshi urgently, but it kept delaying their response. We tried to send them letters many times after hearing nothing from them, but they kept ignoring us. The company ended up suspending its operation with a large number of vehicles either idle or out of commission. We had about 1,000 employees, most of whom lost their jobs. The total loss amounted to $87 million US, including the purchase price and interest, labor costs, downtime, insurance, parking fees, and other costs. We at iGo, out of concern for the safety of our customers and our sense of responsibility to society, have taken all of the BYD Tongshi off the shelf. This is the third parking lot we moved to. The first parking lot was in Shenzhen, and later, in order to save costs, we moved to the side of you, BYD, hoping you would pay attention to it, but the cost was still too high. Now it has been moved to Huizhou. The area is about 20,000 square meters, with more than 1,000 vehicles all parked here. The monthly cost is more than $15,000 US. This has affected the survival of the entire company. The company is facing bankruptcy and closing down. Our company demanded repair, battery replacement, and compensation for the loss of operation and took legal action to defend our rights. But the legal action is basically a trial without a verdict, and it keeps being delayed. So far, BYD Tongshi has been very condescending and arrogant, never replying to letters. We think it is shameful for BYD to bully its customers. As a Chinese, I respect and support the BYD brand. It's a national brand. But as a consumer, it has been an endless nightmare for me.